I didn't hate marriage. I didn't fear commitment. I didn't think love was fake. I just read their stories. One by one. Night after night. Until something inside me quietly died. I was 30 years old when I finally admitted it to myself. I wasn't single because no one wanted me. I was single because I was terrified. Terrified of becoming one of them. The first night. It started as a joke. A random night. Phone at 2:13 a.m. Sleep refusing to come. I opened Reddit. One post caught my eye. My husband locked me out of the house at 1 a.m. I laughed at first. Thought it was exaggerated. Internet drama. I clicked. Big mistake. She described standing barefoot in the cold. Phone dead. Neighbors asleep. Married for 6 years. I never thought he'd do this, she wrote. Neither did I. I scrolled to the comments. Thousands of them. Worse stories. Cheating. Gaslighting. Silent abuse. People who once promised forever now begging strangers for advice. I closed the app. But the stories stayed. I went back. The next night, I told myself I wouldn't open it. I did. Different subreddit. Same pain. A man wrote. My wife told me she never loved me. We have 2 kids. No shouting. No cheating scandal. Just emptiness. Years of effort reduced to a sentence. I felt my chest tighten. I wasn't reading entertainment anymore. I was reading warnings. The pattern I couldn't unsee. After a week, something became clear. These weren't rare cases. These were normal people. Teachers. Engineers. Stay-at-home parents. People who once said, I can't imagine my life without you. Now saying, I don't recognize the person I married. I started noticing the same phrases. They changed after marriage. I ignored the red flags. I stayed for the kids. I don't know how to leave. It felt like a script. And the ending was always the same. Regret. My friends were getting married. Real life didn't help. One by one, my friends started disappearing. Engagement photos. Wedding reels. Honeymoon captions. Forever, they wrote. I smiled. I liked the posts. Then I remembered the stories. How many of those Reddit posts started exactly like this? At a wedding dinner, someone asked me. So, when's your turn? Everyone laughed. I laughed too. But inside, my mind screamed. Never. The girl I almost married. Her name was Sarah. We met through mutual friends. Smart. Kind. Calm. The type my parents would approve of instantly. She believed in marriage. Deeply. One night she said, I want a partner. Not just love. A life. I nodded. But my stomach twisted. That night, instead of replying to her message, I opened Reddit. The story that broke me. Title. I married the perfect man. He destroyed me slowly. She wrote about emotional neglect. How it didn't start loud. No yelling. No hitting. Just indifference. Years of feeling invisible. I begged him to see me, she wrote. He never did. I imagined Sarah writing that someday. About me. Or me writing it about her. Either way, someone loses. I closed the app. My hands were shaking. Sarah noticed. You've been distant, she said. I wanted to tell her the truth. That it wasn't her. It was the internet. The stories. The fear. But how do you explain that? So I said something safer. I don't think I'm ready for marriage. Her face fell. Then why are we doing this? I had no answer. At 30, people stop asking if you'll marry. They ask why you haven't. Family dinners became interrogations. You're too picky. You're scared of responsibility. You'll regret it. Maybe they were right. But what if marriage itself was the regret? I kept reading. Even when I didn't want to. Stories of dead bedrooms, financial betrayal, emotional affairs, people trapped by mortgages and children. Marriage wasn't romance anymore. It was a contract with consequences. Some posts ended with hope. Most didn't. And the worst ones? The ones that said, if I could go back, I wouldn't marry. If love can turn into resentment. If promises can turn into prisons. If people can change this much. I wasn't lonely. I had friends. Work. Freedom. But I was afraid of waking up one day next to someone who secretly hated me. Or worse. Someone I secretly hated. The subreddit that terrified me? It was meant to help people. To give advice. To vent. But for me, it became a graveyard of dreams. Every story buried another belief. Sarah stopped texting. My friends stopped asking. I turned 31 alone. Not heartbroken. Not angry. Just scared. And then one night, I read a post that changed everything. A post written by someone who sounded exactly like me. It was a Thursday night. Rain pattering against my window. I couldn't sleep. Not that it mattered anymore. I opened Reddit one last time. Just to check. I stayed single for 10 years after reading horror stories online. I thought marriage would destroy me. But then I realized the only thing destroyed was my life waiting for something that might never exist. I froze. The words cut deep. They sounded exactly like me. Except, they had a twist I hadn't considered. It wasn't marriage that had killed him. It was fear of marriage. Fear becomes a prison. I thought I was free. No obligations. No arguments. No broken promises. I had my apartment. My job. My weekends. But freedom started to feel empty. Like a room with no walls, just cold air. I realized I'd become a prisoner of my own fear. I stopped scrolling for hours, staring at the ceiling. 31. Single. Afraid. A lifetime of what-ifs pressing down on me. Sarah reappears. Then she messaged. I've been thinking about you. I hesitated. Every nerve screamed. Don't open it. Don't get hurt. Don't repeat the mistakes you've read about. But I opened it. I want to see you. One last time. I typed, I can't. I'm not ready. Sent. Deleted. Regret burned instantly. Her reply never came. I knew she wouldn't wait forever. And I didn't blame her. Nights of reflection. I started journaling. Pouring thoughts onto paper because my brain wouldn't shut off. I wrote about the stories I read. About Sarah. About myself. Patterns emerged. People didn't hate marriage when it was happening. They hated when promises weren't met. Fear of failure often caused more suffering than failure itself. And me? I was sitting outside life, letting it pass. The friends who married. I attended another wedding. The groom looked happy. The bride radiant. I smiled. Then I noticed the slight tremor in the groom's hands. A glance of uncertainty from the bride. Not every marriage was hell. But every story online whispered, it could be you next. I wanted to scream. You can't live like this. You can't predict pain. But I stayed silent. Isolation creeps in. Friends stopped inviting me. Oh, he's too cautious, they'd joke. Family stopped asking. Oh, he's not interested in anyone. Truth? I was terrified. Terrified of being trapped. Terrified of being someone I didn't want to be. I realized that fear had become my identity. The internet's grip. Reddit became an obsession. Stories of failed marriages, manipulative partners, financial betrayal. I thought I knew love. Then we bought a house, had a child, and I realized I didn't know him at all. I read it. I felt it. I whispered. I could never survive that. And I stayed single. 32 now. Alone. The world around me moved forward. Birthdays passed. Friends married. I collected their stories like trophies of warning. A surprise encounter. One night, at a coffee shop, I saw her. Sarah. She smiled. I froze. She said. You've changed. I wanted to say. I'm scared. I can't risk it. Instead, I smiled politely. We talked for hours. Laughs. Memories. Light conversation. But every sentence, every glance, reminded me of the walls I had built. The shocking realization. Later, alone, walking home, I understood. It wasn't marriage that terrified me. It was losing control over my life. I wasn't afraid of love. I was afraid of being vulnerable. And that fear had cost me Sarah. It had cost me friends. It had cost me years of life. The advice I needed. I realized too late that reading other people's pain wasn't preparation. It was poison. Every story had lessons, yes. But it also built a wall. I had learned from fear, not experience. And the irony? The longer I waited, the more irrelevant life became. The final post. I returned to Reddit. This time, I wrote. I read thousands of stories. They broke me. I stopped believing in love. But maybe the pain I feared wasn't real. Maybe the real pain is missing life because of fear. I didn't post it. I just read it back to myself. I realized, writing it was enough. Alone, but awake. 33 now. Single. Still afraid. But awake. Some nights, I dream of Sarah. Some nights, I dream of a family. Some nights, I just scroll. But now I scroll for curiosity, not obsession. I know I may never marry. And that's fine. I know fear will always linger. And that's life. But I also know this. You can't prepare for life by reading about everyone else's. You live it, or you don't. And the choice is yours. Closing thoughts. Maybe this is a warning. Maybe this is a confession. Maybe it's a story that will make someone hesitate. Or make someone act. Life is terrifying. Love is terrifying. Marriage is terrifying. But regret is worse. If stories like this haunt you, or make you question love, fear, and life itself, you're not alone. Subscribe to Story X Daily for real, raw, unforgettable stories, the ones you can't unhear, and the ones that stay with you forever.